The Italian car makers, Lancia, are buying back hundreds of their Beta models and scrapping them because of serious rust in the engine mountings.
The affected models are good only for the scrap heap. Lancia admit they've already sent 500 cars to yards like this in Somerset. It's all part of a frantic public relations exercise to preserve the Lancia name in Britain.
The brand Lancia was once a staple of Italian design and engineering. But now, when you mention the name, the first thing that comes to people's mind is rust. The whole brand's legacy overshadowed, but is it justified? Well, yes and no. The Beta certainly damaged the brand's reputation in the UK market to the point they had to pull out. But as Jeremy Clarkson famously said,
"But you know, no one knows if the Lancia Beta was the worst car ever made because it never lasted long enough."
Perhaps a bit harsh, but the truth is, the Beta did never last long enough to be defined by any of its attributes. But with disc brakes on all four corners, independent rear suspension, and a 5-speed gearbox as standard, the Beta should have been a phenomenal car for its era. So, in this series, we're going to find out whether the Beta was in fact one of the best cars ever to fall apart. So here she is, my Lancia Beta Coupe. She's a 1300, so one of the rarer variants, or commonly known as a less successful variant. The 1300 can be distinguished by its very menacing black trim. Unfortunately, that's about as menacing as it gets. I'll insert the rather thrilling horsepower figures the car puts out. Like all Betas, it has a rust problem. The Coupes didn't suffer the same way as other variants on the subframe engine mountings, but this car certainly does need some work, especially the sills, rear chassis legs and A-pillars and that sort of thing. So it's got lots of great attributes, lots of not so good attributes, but it doesn't matter. Nobody else is going to say that, so we are. The story behind this car is the gentleman I bought it off bought it around 26 years ago, and subsequently it's basically sat most of its life. He had it on the road in 1998, which is the year I was born, and since then it hasn't seen the road, so it's just sat, and unfortunately, as they do, it has decayed. But it's just, to me, it's far too good to just break or let rot. So let's take it from here. Obviously, a lot of proper work needs to be done, and a good, healthy service needs to happen before we take this anywhere, or do any proper miles in it, or even run it for a long time. But today I just want to see if we can get it to fire at all, just so we can get an idea of what parts we need to order. So all I'm going to do is clean the plugs, top it up with oil, and put a new battery on it, and see if we get some life. So let's do it. As you can see, we've got some nice yummy oil, but it does need to go up a little bit. This is all disconnected, but let's see what we can do. This is loose, obviously, as well. But let's see. I was just fiddling around and I found the bits which were missing and all the bolts which hold the distributor down. So I'm going to put those on. I'll give it a bit of a clean, put those on, and see if anything happens. This is the battery out of another car, so it's a bit too big, but oh well. Little click from the starter. You can't make this stuff up. That's not a fuel tank. Ah, there she is. Just a bit of brake cleaner for good measure. parts intercepted. So, we haven't managed to get everything. Got to pick up more bits tomorrow. But we have got a few bits and bobs. So, cock. Distributor cap. New leads. Plugs. And this bad boy. So, let's put them on and see if this fixes our problem. The annoying thing about Bosch is they don't give you a new bracket with the ignition coils anymore. So you've got to reuse the old dodgy one. Bit cheap, Bosch. What are you playing at? There we have it. Partial new ignition system. It is another day and I've got more parts. So, rotor. And I've also got the points and the condenser. So, we're going to put these in and probably just give everything a good clean up. And hopefully she'll come to life. Fingers crossed. So I've removed the one bracket that holds the distributor in. See if I can get it out. There she is. Here we have it, new condenser, points, looking good. Let's see if this brings it to life. So, I have adjusted the points, eyeball timing as best as I can, and if we don't get any life out of it, I'm lost. But let's see. Bloody Lancias. Oh, come on, baby. You can do it. Oh, yeah. Ah, jinxed it. I'm a terrible person. I mean, I wouldn't say she's running, but that's a start. And tomorrow she will run. I hope. It's just started to rain, so I'm a bit worried the Lancia might rust away. Well, things have transpired. I went to check if the fuel pump was working, and it was, so I just wanted to see how much fuel was in the tank, and now the tank is on the floor. It's just 4 bolts, but 3 of them weren't really able to connect to anything because of, the patina. But at least now we can check inside the fuel tank. There is the fuel tank. Amazingly, boot floor is quite nice. Those rear chassis rails are not the prettiest of things, but not a terribly hard fix. Well, I accidentally dropped some fuel, and that does not look the right colour. Because the fuel tank's out, I think I'm just going to wire wheel it and put some Hammerite on it just to keep things safe for now. It's such an easy fuel tank to remove, which is nice. But either way, I probably won't want to be dropping it again very, very soon. So yeah, let's get this cleaned up and pop it back in. So that's the before and after. Just a very quick job. I just wire wheeled it and gave it a coat. I haven't even done the fuel pipe, but I just wanted to have a quick go at getting some obvious rust off. The whole tank will be down again soon when we properly sort things and probably dip it and get it perfect again, but that's for another day. Right now we're just trying to get the car running. So once this is dry, we'll pop it back in. So I went back in, retimed the car by putting that line with that long line, and then messed around with the distributor until got a nice little spark on one. Gave everything a good little clean where it needed to be cleaned. It's funny, I don't really want to start it because I don't want it not to fire. This should be it. So I need to stop being a coward. Let's do it. Give it a go.
Tell me when you're ready.
Yeah, ready. No. So fuel's not getting to it.
No, that's definitely it. Fuel's just not getting through. Why is that?
Because fuel's getting to here, which is fine. So I guess I've got to take the fuel pump off. Have a look at it.
Yeah.
Wow, I look rough. So, while the fuel pump is working, it's not working very well. So it's just not pulling pulling enough fuel. It's somehow just about dragging it to the pump, but it's just not catapulting it through in the way it needs to. So unfortunately it's Sunday, so I can't get a fuel pump today, but hopefully I'll be able to pick one up tomorrow, or I'll just order one tonight and see. And then finally, the car should run. I feel like I've said that a million times, but I've got really good spark now. The fuel pump just isn't working to the point it needs to. So once we sort that, there shouldn't be anything left to do other than take it for a joyride. Well, probably not that. It would be just be nice to hear it idle on its own under its own steam, and not just on brake cleaner. So yeah. Anyway, this has been harder than I expected. It hasn't been hard at all, really, but it's one of those things where I've gone through everything, figured out what was wrong with it, and then had to go through everything again or work my way back because there's been more things wrong or things have just not been up to par. But that's the case with cars like this, which have been sitting for so long. And yeah, it's not as easy always as just put a battery on and top it up and go. It's a tired old car. Well, it has actually only done 12,000 miles, which is kind of amazing, but yeah, everything's just so tired from sitting. But let's pick this up tomorrow. It's so annoying. I just want to hear it run. Like I've said before, it's amazing. I still think it looks so good, even though it's in such a sorry state. It's just got such a nice shape to it. There is a part of me that, and I know this will be controversial, but that doesn't want it to be all gleaming again. I quite like how it looks. It'd be nice to have it mechanically brilliant and structurally really solid, and certainly stop the rust from getting any worse, but just have it looking kind of a bit rogue and ragged. But in reality, I probably won't do that, but it's an idea. We can do anything with this car, so let me know what you think we should do. Part of me also thinks a rally livery would be cool. I know it's a bit of a silly thing on a 1.3, but yeah, I don't know. There's so many things we can do. It's just a bit of fun. Who cares if it's just 1.3? The new fuel pump has arrived and it's quite cool. It's new old stock. So it's quite old. It's by a company called Supra and it looks like this. So it's nice. Slightly different design to the original one, but works the same. And immediately the resistance is so much better already. On the original one, it's, as you can see, it's way easier to push up. So hopefully that will sort our problem. It's just two 13mm bolts to take it out, and there's this spacer. So I'm going to chuck the new one in, attach the lines, and hopefully give it the first start. new fuel pump. Now I just need to put some clamps around the lines and we can fire it. So obviously we're not getting any fuel through. So it's some form of blocked fuel line most probably. So I'm going to blow compressed air through to see if there's any resistance. Another thing it could be is the old braided hose which goes from the fuel tank to the metal lines. It could have split a little bit and become more porous, and as the fuel pump tries to pull fuel through, air is being pulled through the gaps. So that could be it. But we're going to start off with this to just blow some air through. So I can hear air bubbling away. Well, the air going into the fuel tank and making bubbles. So there's no resistance at all. So I don't think our lines are blocked. At least not enough to create any issues getting fuel through. So it could be the braided hose, or it could be something further forward. So I'm going to put compressed air forward through the system, see what happens. Well, for one, you probably saw that on the video. This is all loose, by the way, but I know that. I've just disconnected everything. Air shot out of this. So this is a bad fuel filter. Yeah, I can hear the air coming out in the tank, so nothing obvious is screaming out to me, but I'm going to attach everything back up, see if we maybe cleared something, and if it's not that, it could be the pipe at the back is split and it's pushing out air, so let's see. Fucking hell. This is the pipe in question, and it goes from there to the metal fuel line, and in theory, if this pipe has become porous, we're losing a lot of air from it. We're losing a lot of pressure from it. So let's see if this is the problem. I'm slightly doubtful. Oh, it gets worse every time.
Keep going, keep going. What are you doing? Come on, babe.
Come on, baby.
Really?
Yay! It's running! Almost there, she's coming back to life. Slowly. I mean, that counts, I think. She's going. Locked it again. She's actually running quite well now. I mean, in relative terms, it's very, very smoky, but it's alive and it's running pretty steady, so nice. The smoke coming from the engine is definitely an exhaust leak. I was a bit concerned it might be, well, I was hoping it was just something burning off the engine because I spilled a tiny bit of oil, but it's definitely an exhaust leak. Sorry, there's a clown in the background. That's for another day. But it's definitely an exhaust leak. Not too concerned of all the things it could be. I was afraid it was something worse, like head gasket stuff, but it seems good. And the exhaust from the exhaust pipe is clearing up now. The fuel tank is still on the floor. Because I didn't think we'd get this far, but it's safe. And yeah, I'll turn the camera around. Now let's see if she still wants to start nice and easy. Whoa, look at that. Christ, that carb needs adjusting. She's off. The smoke has cleared up a lot, which is good, but she's definitely running a bit rougher. So, we actually did it. The car is running. Certainly not running like a Swiss clock, but it's a start. The fact that the car's come alive after all these years of sitting and neglect is a great feeling. It's just, yeah, it's a huge feeling of accomplishment. Taking something which had been forgotten and bringing it back to life. Still a huge amount to do, even in respects to the running. It's running rough. I mean, it did level itself out and all the smoke cleared, which is great. But the carb needs a good rebuild and setting up properly. A lot of things, you know, I'm sure the gaskets aren't brilliant on it at this stage, so it'd be good just to refresh everything. But that's for another day. The car is alive, and hopefully in the next episode we can take it for a gentle drive around the yard. That's the next goal. So I need to put the fuel tank back in, at least set up the carb a bit better, because when I put my foot on the accelerator at all, it dies. So need to sort that, and then we can take it for a little bit of a spin. But nothing crazy. Definitely needs a new cam belt and all the other things I mentioned. But yeah, we did it. So in the next episode, I'll probably be working on the Aston, disassembling it further, getting all the glass out, remaining trim, and that fun stuff, so I can continue the metal work properly. So that will probably be out in about a week, and the next Lancia video will be out after that. If you'd like to support the channel and the things I'm doing, there's a link to my Patreon below. Feel free to look at it. If you don't want to. It's just bonus content and just helps every little bit of these builds, which are hard and expensive. Please subscribe and follow along for this journey. I really hope you enjoyed this episode. I know I enjoyed making it. So yeah, see you next time.